coming straight out of Canton, 24/7, 365. From the Hall of Fame city, this is Uncensored Football.
Welcome in another edition of Uncensored Football. Going to be doing some rankings tonight as we look at the wide receiver position. Myself, Brad Russell, of course, Zach Zander, and the fantasy big shot, EJ Safavic. Boys, let's jump right into this. Number one, clear cut. It's Michael Thomas playing for the Saints. A bazillion and a half catches last year, 1 million yards, and a bunch of touchdowns. Dude was a stud, literal PPR. I think that's his ceiling, but it's something that you can look at and say, man, I want him on my roster. He's the clear cut number one. And we're all in a kind of agreement here. The top six guys are kind of our consensus top tier guys. We'll kind of run through them, talk about them here quickly. EJ, lead it off with the top six guys. I guess maybe the top five after Michael Thomas.
Okay, well, after Michael Thomas, it's got to be Tyreek Hill. Who was hurt last year? Patrick Mahomes dealt with some injuries. Tyreek dealt with some injuries. I get it. But at the end of the day, they're the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions, and they got the best quarterback in the NFL. And who's to say that Mahomes isn't going to have 40-plus, 50, it's got to be Tyreek Hill. He's got the best quarterback, the best offense. Number three is Davante Adams, okay? I got Davante Adams right in front of DeAndre Hopkins for one reason. Same quarterback. Aaron Rodgers knows Davante Adams. They know each other in and out. Whereas my boy Nuke Hopkins, I love him. Yes, you say he's quarterback-proof, but he is still in a new system. We don't know how difficult Coach Cliff's offense is going to be to learn, and he's going to need to develop chemistry with Kyler Murray. And, hey, there's a hell of a lot more wide receivers out there, man. There's tons of wide receivers. Your Christian Kirk, your Larry Fitz, Hakeem Butler's coming back, Andy Isabella. So that's why I have those guys in front of DeAndre Hopkins. Zeke's over there smiling, so I can't wait to hear what he's got to say. My number five is Julio Jones, Matt Ryan. You know, they got a thing. They play in domes. I love it. And then it's my guy Chris Godwin, who I think him and this guy, Tom Brady, are going to have some real good chemistry, but he's a little bit further down because of that new quarterback situation. You always got to be a little conservative.
Yeah, I like that. I'm pretty much on the same boat. I got DeAndre Hopkins a little higher because I do think he's quarterback proof. I mean, this guy was putting up points with Yates. He was putting them up with Tom Savage, for Christ's sake. I mean, those guys are complete bums. I don't even think they're in the league. I'll take my chances with Kyler Murray and that offense where they're going to be chucking the ball around. And all those guys that are coming back, they're all going to take a back seat to Nuke because he is the clear-cut A1 alpha dog. And I love having him, and I hope that I can be in a position to draft him this year. Zeke, what do you think about this top tier of wide receivers?
I can't believe we got a Tom Savage reference. I love it. Are you kidding me? So Michael Thomas is the clear-cut number one wide receiver, and you already said why. This guy's amazing. And after that, to me, it's Davante Adams. Him and Aaron Rodgers, they know how to do it, and there's nobody else. What's the story from the draft? It was Aaron Rodgers did not get an offensive weapon in the pass game. A.J. Dillon is a power horse running back, and Jordan Love's a quarterback. That doesn't help his pass game, not in 2020. So this guy is going to be flooded with targets if he's healthy, and he is going to have a 2018-esque type season. At three is DeAndre Hopkins. You said why this man's great. Him and Kyler, they're going to make beautiful football down there in Arizona, and I can't wait to see it. That's the most exciting team in the NFL this season. Tyreek is my four, but these guys are so close. I mean, it's really apples and oranges. I love Tyreek Hill. Someone has to be four. Five is Julio Jones. Six is Chris Godwin, and I love this top six. These are the clear-cut top six wide receivers in the 2020 redraft season.
And that's kind of our top tier of guys with Michael Thomas, again, leading that pack. Now, when you get into that second tier, Zeke, we've been talking about it, about how wide it is and diverse it is and how it can almost be flip-flop. Just give us your thoughts on that tier two of wide receivers.
Well, it was just so hard to get my seventh-ranked wide receiver on paper. I kept flip-flopping around. It was Mike Evans. It was Kenny Golladay, and it ended up being Odell Beckham Jr. I think they have a better season in 2020. 2019, this guy had over 1,000 yards, and the mental issues that he was, causing problems in the locker room and on the field, I didn't see as much. He really kind of gutted out a terrible season in Cleveland, as Brad would know. So I look for them to really feature this guy in the offense. Stefanski is going to go out of his way, the way Kitchens didn't do, to get him the ball. But right after him is Mike Evans, Kenny Golladay, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Those next 4 guys are really close. And I can all the way go down to my 17th and 18th ranked guy and almost flip it upside down from 18 to 7. This tier right here is, it's super deep, and it makes me think about when I'm on draft day, I want to go running back early because I want to get as many guys in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 5th round at this wide receiver group. I have to go running back first round, and then I just eat up wide receiver value.
Guys that stand out to you in that second tier that he just threw out there, EJ, is there some guys that stand out to you that you like more than others?
I don't agree with OBJ. I don't like him there. I don't think you can put him in front of a guy like Kenny G, who's just getting better and better. And OBJ hasn't been, wide receiver one relevant since 2016. Every year he's breaking fantasy owners' hearts where they got to draft him at. I got him down a little further because I'm going to tell you something. That guy, Teddy Bridgewater, played with a man named Michael Thomas last year, and Michael Thomas put up great numbers. But he's going to eye in on one person. The rest of them, nobody else was really that relevant when Teddy Bridgewater was there. But you know what? He really eyed in on Michael Thomas. I think he's going to do the same thing with DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is going to be very relevant. He's going to be a focal point. Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. It's going to be the show. So I got him pretty high up there.
Where do you have DJ? Where do you have him at?
I got Kenny G at 7, DJ Moore at 8. Then I got Mike Evans, just because he just disappears so much, man. This guy's the worst guy ever for me. Look, he's the guy that falls to me. I'm like, shit, I do not want him, but he's the best available. It's like that. The guy is very inconsistent. It drives me crazy.
Real quick, the fantasy couch wouldn't like that DJM ranking, EJ. What you think? Mr. 4th rounder?
Yeah, he's a bum. So his opinion really matters nothing. But he didn't even rank in the top 129 in Fantasy Pros. He was unlisted. Anyways, I got Allen Robinson at 11 because this guy has not zero quarterback play. Think about what he has done, man, with nothing. I'm talking Blake Bortles and Trubisky. I'm sorry, Chicago fans. Mitchell Trubisky sucks, man. But now you got Nick Foles, who's very capable. And I want Allen Robinson. I want him all over the board. And that's why I got him in front of Amari Cooper, because I'm talking a crazy crowded wide receiver group, whereas Allen Robinson's going to be flooded with targets. Please put Nick Foles in there, Nagy, and let's go.
And so I'm kind of coming in at a little bit of a mix between you two guys. I've got Kenny G at 7, so I agree with EJ there. I got Odell at 8. I got Adam Thielen 9, Mike Evans 10, Amari Cooper, then Allen Robinson at 13. I got DJ Moore. DJ Moore, 3rd-year wide receiver. I like his potential there. I'm just still not sure if he's going to be able to do it. And again, we kind of talked about it when you addressed it with Nuke Hopkins. Is he going to have any of those quarterback issues with a new guy in Teddy Bridgewater? I know there was consistency there, and he put up some numbers last year with Allen behind center. But I really love Kenny G. Last year, 65 receptions, 1,190 yards and 11 touchdowns. I know Detroit, they're going to look like shit, but they're going to be playing from behind a lot, and he is a great deep threat. I love what he brings to the table. So I love him there at 7, and I look forward to see what Odell can do. Kevin Stefanski came out today and said Odell Beckham is 100%. He's been grinding. He's working. He's going to be ready for training camp. God, please let us have training camp. Please let us have NFL football after they canceled the Hall of Fame game today. I am really excited to see what Odell Beckham Jr. can do with a second year in Baker Mayfield when he's 100% healthy. Again, eclipsed 1,000 yards last year. Let's see what he can do when he's fully healthy and ready to go.
Brad, real quick, I want to stop you. I got Adam Thielen at 12. You had him at, am I right, at 8 or 9?
I got him at 18. I got him at 18, guys. When people with the arrows pointing down, I'm not excited about him, man.
Real quick.
I want that arrow pointing up.
I got him at 12. Explain your thought process on
Stephon Diggs is gone. Stephon Diggs is gone. He's going to be the number 1 guy there. He's going to be Kirk Cousins' favorite target. He liked him a lot. He's got sure hands. He's going to have plenty of opportunities. Guy brings the ball in. I think he's a guy that you can have and feel good about.
You're going to take him over Cooper Kupp? DK Metcalf? Juju?
Yes.
Diggs?
Yes.
I do have Adam Thielen at 12, and for the reason that he just said Stephon Diggs is gone. And Thielen was on point. Him and Kirk Cousins, they have a great connection. I think he has a big season as long as that hamstring is good and this guy's legs are good. I think he has a tremendous 2020 season if healthy. I think 18 is a little low on him. I think Brad might be a touch high on
They
him
proved
than
last
what
year
I
that
am.
they want to run the football. That's
Yeah,
what
but they're still going to throw
is.
the ball. This isn't 1939. I mean, they're still going to throw the ball
It's
25
getting
plus
closer and
times.
closer to it.
Well,
Look at the 49ers, the Packers, the Vikings. That's what they do. They run 70% of the time. The Ravens.
And they only have 2 legitimate wide receivers, and one of them's a rookie. So if Justin Jefferson not getting into the mini camp, not getting in all this extra time with Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen he is going to be the guy in the pass game that Kirk Cousins is going to look first, second, third option. I mean,
every 32 with an arrow pointing down, and I'm not putting him in my top 15.
I mean, this is redraft. That's fine. He can be 32. He can be. I mean,
Julian Edelman in your top 15. And
they're gonna. I'm not putting Julian that high, but I do like where Adam Thielen is this year. Again, not a dynasty pick here, redraft only where this ranking is. And they run to set up the pass there. They're going to do that zone block running, and they're going to set up an opportunity for a deep play down the ball or down the field a few times. They're going to be taking shots with Adam Thielen. I like what he brings to the table with the short hands and being that clear-cut number 1 guy. So I am going to put him because everybody below that, if you start thinking about him, Mike Evans, he's going to be splitting time with Chris Godwin. Amari Cooper, he's got like 5 other wide receivers that are going to be good there in Dallas. Allen Robinson, he's probably more of a clear-cut number 1 than the last 2. But I don't care who the quarterback is there right now. I don't trust either one of those guys in Chicago. And then I got DJ Moore after that.
DJ Moore after Thielen.
I got DJ Moore 11, Thielen 12. So I'm really close with that. But EJ mentioned the X factor of this group, y'all. DK Metcalf. I mean, I have him at wide receiver 17. But him and Russell Wilson, after his rookie season, we seen what he was doing in the playoffs. This guy has top 5 talent. We all seen it. You know, he has those Batman wings when he flexes. This dude is almost like a superhero. I want to hear where you guys have him, and what do you think his ceiling is in 2020?
I got him at 18. EJ, where you got him?
I got him at 14, man. Pete Carroll already made it clear that he's expanding his route tree significantly. This is the last year you're going to get him outside of that top 6. Put me down on paper for that. DK Metcalf is going to be a superstar. I'm sorry. Enjoy it while you can get him at 14. If you're waiting past that, you're probably not getting him.
I've got Cortland Sutton, Cooper Kupp, Juju, and A.J. Brown ahead of him.
You see what I mean? This tier is stupid.
It is.
I'd
be happy with any of those guys.
It's my favorite tier. It's my favorite rounds of the draft.
And that's why, we talked about those top 6 guys, and you got to rank them. But when someone's taking Tyreek Hill, I'm probably taking a running back. I'm trying to get a Josh Jacobs or something like that because I know this tier is going to fall down, and I'm going to be sitting there in the 3rd round. I'm going to be like, pluck. There's Juju Smith-Schuster, or pluck. There's DJ Moore, or there's Allen Robinson. I know I'm going to get a stellar wide receiver. That's why I'm going running back heavy early.
Yeah, I'm right there with you in total agreement when it comes to that in that 2nd tier. Let's start getting a little deeper into that maybe that 3rd tier of guys at the wide receiver position that you like, and some of the guys that stand out to you past that 17 spot. That's when you start getting into like the Calvin Ridleys, the Keenan Allens, Devontae Parker, Tyler Lockett, T.Y. Hilton, Terry McLaurin type guys. What do we think about? What stands out to you about those few handful of guys there, Zach?
There's a ton of value still there. You mentioned Calvin Ridley, Matt Ryan. He's almost guaranteed to throw for 4,600 plus yards this season. They play in a dome. They play in Carolina and Tampa Bay, so they're always going to be playing in good weather. Calvin Ridley has that sort of upside. I like Stephon Diggs as the 3rd tier guy, not in the 2nd tier that he was in Minnesota for me. I like him as the next tier over. He's going to have some big games in Buffalo. They got this man, a weapon in Josh Allen. It's just I don't see the consistency that's going to make him into that next tier. I think he'll have a 100-yard game, then a 40-yard game, and then not have a 100-yard game for 2 more games. At the end of the season, I think Stephon Diggs is going to have 1,200 yards, probably 75 receptions, but I don't see him doing it consistent enough to be that next tier. But I like him at wide receiver 19. And Robert Woods, talk about someone that doesn't get a lot of respect. He's my wide receiver 20. You can get him probably in the 5th round, and he's probably going to catch 90-plus balls again.
Guys that stand out to you for tier 3, EJ?
Yeah, I'm with you with Robert Woods, man. I love some Robert Woods, bro. I got him at 20. Absolutely love him. I disagree with Diggs, though. He's in tier 2, man. That guy's going to be wide receiver 1. If Josh Allen can make John Brown, I'm sorry, John Brown's a good football player, but if he can make John Brown fantasy relevant, imagine what he's going to do with Stephon Diggs, a freak athlete. I mean, come on, man. Stephon Diggs is a baller. 2 years ago, he showed his numbers with 150 targets. What'd they do last year in Minnesota? They did nothing but run the ball. His targets went down. He's pissed, screaming on the sideline. He's going to Buffalo. They gave up the house for him. He's going to get back to the 150 target volume. Stephon Diggs is be close to wide receiver 1, dude. I mean, he's nice. And I think he's going to be great in Buffalo. So I don't agree with you there. But besides that, man, Robert Woods, Devontae Parker, I can't get enough shares of him, man. I absolutely love him. F1, I don't think the Redskins are going to average more than like 13 points a game, but F1's going to be flooded. Dwayne Haskins is going to rely on him heavily. Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you got F1 and then Brad?
I've got F1 at 25. I'm sorry, man.
It's all right. 22 and 25, pretty darn close right there. I will say, we were talking about that tier 2 and this tier 3. I really want to make sure I get one of those tier 2 guys. The tier 3 for me, and not saying like you can't get one of these guys and they hit and give you some of that tier 2 type value, like a Stephon. I like you guys' arguments for him. Or maybe it's a Landry that's floating around in that, or it is F1. One of those guys could maybe hit for you. But I feel so much better about that tier 2 than I do that tier 3. And even when you get a little bit lower, because you're talking about value picks at this point, when you get into tier 4 and tier 5, I just really don't like that tier 3 for some reason. I'd rather wait and see if I can get another running back, or maybe I grab my quarterback in these rounds or do what I can, because I don't really like that stretch of wide receivers, to be completely honest with you.
And there's people in every tier that one of us don't like. I mean, for me, where do you guys got Juju?
I've got him at 15.
Where you got him, Z?
I got him at 10.
I got him at 15 too. And I told that to one of my Steelers buddies from the Steeler Wire. I talk a lot. He's like, "Are you crazy?" But no, I just don't know. I think there's a lot of people out there. I mean, Juju last year, I had him at like 6 and he burned me 7. I mean, I love Juju, but we'll just have to wait and see on that Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver group.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure Big Ben is off the Pornhub, and his shoulder is going to be a lot better. He's going to be able to help out, Juju's numbers this year.
I can't believe you're saying that, man. What are you talking about, dude?
Hey, I'm doing a podcast with 2 Steelers guys. You don't think I'm going to take that opportunity to throw that Pornhub news at you?
Perfect.
Hopefully
shot,
he gets
man.
addicted to throwing the Juju Smith-Schuster, because this guy's going to be a top 10 wide receiver again. I mean, this guy's still only 23. Get the ball in his hands. He was nicked up a little bit last year. Yes, it's a big season for Juju. It's a contract year. I mean, we don't really hear anything about an extension, so I doubt this turns into a franchise tag or something. So they need to get this guy signed, and he needs to prove it.
I'm excited about Deontay Johnson and Claypool too, and Ebron. So that's why I got him at 15. Real quick, lad, one more question for you guys, man. When we're in that next tier, there's a guy that everybody is super high on, man, and his name is DJ Shark. Where do you guys have him, and why do you guys have him there?
Go ahead, Zach.
I have him at wide receiver 22, right behind Devontae Parker, right before Tyler Lockett. And I think it's a perfect spot for him. He was a little inconsistent last year, but when he popped, he really popped. He was only in his second year. He's going into that crucial third year. This team is going to be throwing a lot in the third and fourth quarter. The Jaguars, Gardner Minshew and the mustache and the Jaguar King, and everything's going to be running around, throwing it in the fourth quarter when they're down by 15 points. And DJ Chark is probably going to get you some really nice kind of garbage points. And he's he's the only consistent wide receiver they have on the outside. Chenault comes in there. I think that's going to help him in the slot and doing all the things he does. Dede Westbrook is kind of just a limited guy. So DJ Chark, I think, has a ton of upside, and you can get him at a pretty sweet ADP. This guy's only in his third year again. I see a progression uptick up, and he needs to work on a little bit of, his hand, eye control, everything like that. He was really raw coming out of LSU, so I like to see him become more of a pro wide receiver.
Yeah, I got him at 26. He's right around where I would have had the guy that I want to bring up next. We had to bump him down because of the news of the injury. What are our consensus thoughts here when it comes to Debo? Because I probably would have had him right there next to DJ Chark, probably even a little bit ahead of him, just because I like the 49ers more than I like the Jaguars. But with the injury now and some inconsistencies and not knowing what's going to be coming of that foot, where do we kind of stand with him right now as we're sitting here in the mid to late June?
Heartbroken, man. I had him at 20. I mean, I
Yeah.
love Debo stepping. Manny Sanders is no longer in the room. Steps right into wide receiver one. He does it all. He'll take the 3 handoffs a game. Get 7, 8 targets, and besides his hand issues, I mean, this dude dropped a lot of footballs. But I mean, hold on to the football, man. He's on his way to wide receiver one.
Yeah, he's a force with the ball in his hand. What do you think about Debo, Zach?
I think that's a little crazy to have him at wide receiver 20. Now, this is a run-first team. Yes, he was getting decent volume, but a lot of it was on run plays, on screen plays. I mean, he was utilized in the Super Bowl in that first half. But having Debo as a wide receiver, too, I didn't see that even before the injury. I actually had him at 31 pre-injury, and I had to bump him down to 42. This is an injury that it kind of takes away his best asset, and that's his wheels. Is he going to be ready week 1? I highly doubt it with this injury, but I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to speculate too much. He says he wants to be ready week 1. All I know is he's not going to be 100% in September. And if this is an injury that lingers a little bit, I mean, that's Debo. That's how he makes his money, man. That's how he makes his cheddar, and that's running reverses. I mean, he runs like a running back with the ball in his hands, and that's why he was so productive at the end of last year. He's not a great route runner. He doesn't have great hands, so they have to utilize him in different ways. That's why I was a little worried about him being a wide receiver too, even though how much I love him. I love him as a player, but that offense just doesn't throw the ball enough to me. They get too excited.
They score 28 points a game. I mean,
yeah, with the run game, I mean, you can – Debo's really
Kittle.
nice. I thought he was a really nice wide receiver 3 before the injury. I have to put him down a little bit because I don't trust him. And the guys that were right on his tail, like the Justin Jeffersons and the Jerry Judys and the Preston Williams of the world, they were right on his tail anyway. And with the injury, I have to fade him just a touch. And he's one of my favorite players in the league.
It's going to be interesting to see what the next couple weeks to months as far as training camp and getting him through this injury and where he's going to be. And that, again, we're here early on. Those rankings are going to adjust. It'll be something we keep an eye on here on Uncensored Football. Again, make sure you're following along on all social media and sharing the stuff that we're putting out there for you. We certainly love doing it. All right, guys, we talked about this tier here, like the third tier of guys. I didn't like it. I actually like this next tier of guys. I know that sounds stupid. Like, well, we'll just rank those other guys higher. But these are some value guys that I would love to throw darts at here when you get into some of these later rounds. You're going to feel really good about the possibility of bringing in, I don't know, wide receiver 2 type numbers for some of these guys. What do you see when you look, EJ, from like, let's say wide receiver 35 to down to near like, let's go to like 50. I think there's some really good wide receivers there still.
I mean, honestly, after 25 is a really fun time to just grab people you like. I mean, honestly, I know you said 35, but there's that whole tier in between there we're missing over, man. And I'm talking guys like Jarvis Landry, Keenan Allen, T.Y. Hilton, A.J. Green, Will Fuller. If Will Fuller could stay healthy for a full year, I don't draft predicting injuries. You know what I'm saying? I get it. He gets hurt. But, hey, if Will Fuller was a wide receiver 1 for the full year, Nuke Hopkins is gone. And then I got Brandon Cooks right behind. I got Will Fuller at 30, Brandon Cooks at 32, Justin Jefferson in between him at 31. I love it. If T.Y. Hilton is considered, old man Phil's, Keenan Allen, T.Y. Hilton could have a monster year. I mean, that's fun. A.J. Green, he's a freak athlete superstar. Who's to say that he can't walk in there and Burrow just is like, wow, I never threw to a guy like this before and just goes crazy. These are fun picks, man. Brandon Cooks, he's proved it with 4 different quarterbacks that he can be over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdown guy.
Yeah, I got him real close too. It's interesting you say that, EJ. I got Brandon Cooks at 35. I got Will Fuller at 36. Bang, bang, back to back. I'm not sure how it's going to play out for Cooks and Will Fuller. Again, the injuries, they make me nervous because if he didn't have that, and I know you don't draft for injuries, I do. If I know a guy that's injury prone, I stay away from him. I've been burned by Will Fuller multiple times. But if he were to stay healthy, you could be talking about a top 10 guy. There was a stretch, the one a couple of years ago, where every game he touched the ball, he had a touchdown, sometimes 2 touchdowns.
Wait. Will Fuller just tore his ACL.
Right, we talked about him. He must have heard. He is fragile as a dandelion, bro. I don't know what to say about the kid. I mean, I love his athletic ability, his speed. His separation, his ability to go up and get the ball at the highest point, all the things that he does at a high level. The only thing another thing he does at a high level is get fucking hurt. And I just can't draft him as high as he should probably go. What are your thoughts there, Zach?
I got Will Fuller at 41, Brandon Cooks at 29. I like Cooks a little bit more, and Fuller is just, I mean, he's a lower extremity issue waiting to happen, and these things do reoccur. You don't draft on injury, but also you have to use common sense. Brandon Cooks is also a headshot away from possibly ending his career. So these guys both have a ton of upside week to week, but I don't want to put a ton of preseason value on them. Now, there is two guys I want to talk about. In this tier, I call them my breakout players. And it starts with Christian Kirk coming into his third year. DeAndre Hopkins does get added to Arizona, but that's okay. He's going to be on the outside. Christian Kirk is a devil in the slot, and that's just going to open him up. No team is – they're going to be putting slot corners on him and possibly even safeties and linebackers. And this guy, if healthy, if he can keep his goddamn ankles healthy and upright, and this guy plays 15, 16 games – I'm calling for an 80-catch season, and Christian Kirk can well outplay his ADP, which is super low right now. Another guy is Darius Slayton in his second season, who's one of my favorite players this season at his ADP. I think you can get him way low, and he could be a wide receiver 3 consistently. He showed promise last season with 8 touchdowns. Daniel Jones is going to be throwing the ball all over the field, kind of like we were talking with Jacksonville. New York Giants probably have the worst defense in the league, so that means Daniel Jones throwing for his life in the third and fourth quarter. Darius Slayton is going to be one of the big guys to get a bunch of those passes, and this guy is progressing. You know, I see an uptick on him coming out of Auburn. I think he fell in the draft because of a run-first system in college.
It's interesting, too. I've got Christian Kirk at wide receiver 39 and Darius Slayton right behind him at 40. And then just 2 spots down from that, I've got somebody I know you've talked about before. That's Deontay Johnson. Where do you probably have him a little higher, don't you, Jay? Where do you have Deontay Johnson coming in?
I'm conservative with the Steelers wide receiver group because Big Ben injury, and then they're nothing. So I got him at 37. And like I said, a lot of my Steeler fans did appreciate that, but it is what it is. Big Ben's coming off a serious injury. He's old, and he's one injury away. I mean, they didn't get a backup yet. So
I got him much lower. I got him at 48, and it's not because I don't like him. It's because I like a lot of the guys right ahead of him. I mean, we're talking right ahead of him. I have Jamison Crowder, who I think is one of the steals of the draft. Sterling Shepard, CeeDee Lamb, who has all the upside in the world, but is there enough targets? Hollywood Brown, who can have a 150-yard game like he did last year, but go 2 games without big target share. Julian Edelman. I mean, let's talk about your PPR darling. Guys like that I'm taking above Deontay Johnson.
All right. I have Deontay at, like I said, number 42. And we mentioned some of the other guys that we had ahead of him. I'm getting down here to the point where I'm starting to see a few rookies on the board. Who are the rookies that stand out to you? Who's your highest rookie? And then where do you see some of the other guys that are coming in that 2020 class kind of getting sprinkled in here towards the back end of the wide receiver group? EJ, we'll start with you.
I got Justin Jefferson at 31. Like I said, I think Thielen. I do like Thielen, but he's older. I think he's got a downward arrow, and Justin Jefferson is going to be day one contributor there. And my man Henry Ruggs, they drafted him for a reason. I got him at 33. He's going to be flooded with targets. Tyrell Williams showed that, it is possible, to run slant routes, and Henry Ruggs runs a hell of a slant route. I think he's going to be a burner. He's going to make that. He's going to be successful right off the rip. He's going to have no other choice but to be flooded with targets. And then I got Jalen Reagor, man. They're already talking about Alshon on the PUP list. This is perfect opportunity for him, too. Hey, you were drafted in the first round. Get out there and show us what you got. Jalen Reagor, got him at 36. I like that a lot. Got your boy CD at 39. I'm not afraid to throw some rookies up there if that's what you're asking. Jerry Jeudy at 46. What do you got, Z?
Well, I think you're a little low on Jerry Jeudy right there. That's the player that's going to step in day one, and the way he creates separation on the football field is going to lead to instant success. If Drew Lock does not succeed with this offensive players out here, then he's just not a good quarterback. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. This guy has all the talent on the world on the outside. Jerry Jeudy's probably going to be in the slot a little bit more, and he is nasty in the slot. This guy came out of the SEC just blowing everybody away. I cannot wait to see him, but he is not my wide receiver rookie one in 2020. It is that man, Justin Jefferson, and it's going to be because of volume. Adam Thielen on the other side, Justin Jefferson is going to step into Stephon Diggs' role, and he might even be better. He's bigger. He ran just as fast at 40, and this guy showed amazing hands at LSU. I think he can step in day one and be a contributor. After him, right behind him at 34, I have Jalen Reagor because of the opportunity. Carson Wentz needs somebody. He was making a former quarterback from Houston put up legitimate fantasy stats at the end of last year, and I'm not even joking. Carson Wentz needs some weapons. He wasn't my favorite player pre-draft, but if this guy can learn the playbook, they need somebody, and he does have nice speed. Jerry Jeudy's at 37, so it's really close between those three guys. Preseason, CeeDee Lamb's a little bit more down my list just because he could have a couple 2-target games. I mean, seriously, the Dallas offense is a run-first team with Michael Gallup, with Amari Cooper. Dak Prescott even runs the ball a little bit. When is he going to get the ball? He might have a couple 100-yard, 2-touchdown games, but he also is probably going to have a couple 2-target games.
Yeah, but those 2 targets could go for touchdowns. Just saying. I'm way lower, though, on all the rookie wide receivers than you guys are. My number one rookie wide receiver is Jerry Jeudy, comes in at 48 overall, and I've got him really bunched together here. After that is Justin Jefferson at 49, CeeDee Lamb at 50, then at 53, Henry Ruggs is where I kind of stand with my rookies. They're kind of grouped in there. In redraft, I'm not going to spend big money on a rookie wide receiver. It takes them a little bit to get in there, get in the system, especially with the COVID this year, not having the OTAs for the rookies, not having those team activities. Zoom meetings are Zoom meetings. I don't think you pick up a lot about the guy next to you or the things that you need to do to be a clear-cut wide receiver and a day one contributor in the Zoom meeting. I just don't see it. And I know the arguments to be made are some of the guys that were out there last year who really turned it on at the end of the season. But I'm not going to overdraft the guy to hopefully they turn it on at the end of the season when I'm already out of the playoffs because I didn't get the kind of, production I needed for guys that I drafted that high. I'm going to wait on them rookies. I'll grab them a little higher, obviously, in Dynasty. But in this redraft, I'm not going to roll the dice on some of these guys, even though I do like Jerry Jeudy. I do like
this is a ceiling round. Like you really want to maximize here. I mean, you're talking 30s, 40s. You're talking a tier where you're drafting off a ceiling, and what's going to create this highest ceiling opportunity? I do like Jerry Jeudy, but guess what? I also like Cortland Sutton. I also like Noah Fant. And hey, why the hell aren't we talking about KJ Hamler in that Hollywood Brown role right off the rip? You don't think they're going to be taking some shots deep with that kid? It's just very crowded. And what do I think they're going to do most importantly? They're going to run the hell out of Melvin Gordon. That dude is going to run them to the playoffs. So that's why Jerry Jeudy's a little further down, but there's so many fun dart throws here. I mean, I got your old faithful here, okay? These are the guys that I always have on my teams, and that's your Golden Tates, your Manny Sanders, guys like that I love. But look at the dart throws. The other ones, Mike Williams, I'll take him anywhere. Paris Campbell, N'Keal Harry, them guys from last year that were top 10 rookie draft picks, oh, yeah, they're still out there. Man, they might have had some injuries ruin their rookie season, but, hey, that ceiling's looking pretty high. So really the landing spot with CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy is why I'm not so high. But I did just see Jerry Jeudy on that. Did you guys see that video he posted? That footwork was ridiculous. And then you got CeeDee Lamb rocking the 88. I mean, Jerry Jones thinks it's his Michael Irvin. So who really knows? But these are some fun dart throws, and you're getting them lovely. I mean, the value here is so late. It's going to be it's a fun draft, dude. I've only done one real redraft for money so far and a couple mocks and stuff, but man, it's fun. It's really fun.
Right.
About this guy real quick. Sorry, Brad.
Go ahead.
Rookie wide receiver we did not bring up, but we brought up his teammate that was just injured in Brandon Ayuk. Where does he end up on your list? And if Debo is out a significant amount of time or is, if the injury lingers a little bit more than it's supposed to, Brandon Ayuk could really step into what that Debo role was supposed to be.
Yeah, I think he's an interesting guy too. We didn't mention Michael Pittman Jr. either. Where do you look at with that guy too, going into Indy? I know nobody here is big on Phillip Rivers as I am, I guess, but I mean that's another guy that's going to get some opportunities there. I think
Ayuk and Pittman are actually right next to each other. Basically, I got Ayuk. I bumped him up to wide receiver 54. He's going to be relevant. He's not any chance he's going undrafted. Michael Pittman's a little farther down at 61. I'm worried about him creating separation at the NFL level, because I didn't quite see it even at the collegiate level, even though this guy won the Biletnikoff Award. He's amazing in jump catch roles, but he doesn't do much after the catch and doesn't create a bunch of separation. So I'm kind of worried about how that translates into the NFL. So I do have Brandon Ayuk ahead of him, because I have a feeling this Debo thing ain't going away, and they're going to need Ayuk to play.
51 Ayuk, 52 my boy Denzel Mims, who will be flooded with volume. I'm stealing him in every redraft I can. I love Mims in New York, and I like the whole offense and a little bit better of a second year. And then I got Pittman, 53, right in a row. Some fun dart throws.
All right. Well, I think that's what we should do here. We got a few minutes left as we kind of wrap up our wide receiver rankings here for Uncensored Football. Let's go around the horn here, and let's leave it wide open, somewhere between, I don't know, 50, 55 to 80. Those deep, deep dart throws that when you go late round drafts that you're going to go and you're going to get that guy. He's going to be your hidden gem. And I know we're kind of releasing it and letting it out there for everybody, especially some of the leagues we're in. I'm going to go in there and get them ahead of you guys just to piss you off. But nevertheless, some of those late round guys in the wide receiver position that you're going to stash and have ready to go. And then might be those guys that turn into the Debo Samuels at the end of the year, but you didn't have to pay that Debo Samuels type money. Who are those guys, those deep, deep sleepers for you at the wide receiver position? Zach, go ahead. I know you're chomping at the bit to throw some of them deep sleepers at us.
Oh, man, it starts with Laviska Shenault.
Oh.
Talking about Debo, this guy's almost a clone, even bigger, possibly even faster. He was hurt during the combine, so we could not see what he would really run, but this guy is an A-plus talent. If he can stay healthy, the Jaguars will be, if they're smart, they're going to get the ball in this guy's hands. And I also think a guy to really, really think about last round, Anthony Miller from Chicago. There has to be a wide receiver too. They brought in really nobody else. They brought in like 5 tight ends for some reason. None of them are really that great. Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet. I don't think any of them are going to be that much this year. Anthony Brown had a sneaky end of the 2019 season, and I think he can put up some decent fantasy numbers from where you draft him, and he could be a steady player that can get you double digits every week.
EJ, give us one of them deep darts.
Dude, mine is one that nobody agrees with, and I mean nobody, but it's
Brandon Funches.
Devin Funches.
Devin
It's my boy
Funches,
Devin Funches. I mean, we've had this talk,
Funches.
bro, but the kid is still 6'4", 230, 225. We've seen in 2017 healthy. What do you have? 840 yards, 8 touchdowns. He's going to be the wide receiver, too, in Green Bay. They've tried Lazard. They've tried Geronimo Allison. They've tried multiple
They're going to try Funches.
Listen, it doesn't matter. Listen, Funches has actually proven that he can catch the football, and he's a big guy for what he needs. He's a big target. Aaron Rodgers is going to respect the guy. I mean, I like Devin Funches there. So that's why I have him at 56, man. Like I said, nobody agrees with it, but, hey, I'll take Aaron Rodgers wide receiver 2 over a lot of them guys as a dart throw. And anything after that anyway, I mean, we're talking 16-man league relevance anyways. You know, so in a 16, we're going this deep. So just some fun ones to throw at. Chase Claypool at 66. Kelvin Harmon, 67. Hakeem Butler at 68. Jalen Hurd at 69. Gandy Golden at 70. Brian Edwards at 71. Those are fun, man. Kendrick Bourne. I mean, whatever, man. We're in a 16-man. Like, why not? You know, you're basically – we're in a 16 together. That's pretty much names we're taking, right?
Yeah, they'll be out there. Gandy, I think, is an interesting one, too, to see what he can do there in Washington. And another guy that isn't going to excite anybody. You're not going to get any oohs or ahs at the draft, but he's going really late in a lot of the drafts and average draft position, and that's Tyrell Williams. Last year, he was having a really good season. He got bumped up a little bit there. If I can grab him super late, if he's just one of those guys that's still floating out there, I'll take a flyer on him. Again, it's not a sexy pick, but he's a guy, when he's healthy, he can play that deep role. He did it in San Diego for a while and then went to Las Vegas, and he was kind of by default the guy that they used. I know that they brought in Ruggs, and they've got some other guys that they want to get some run to. But he's a guy that I wouldn't mind throwing on the back end of a draft and feeling like at least I got somebody who's a pro's pro. And that wraps it up for us for the wide receiver rankings. Again, we're here in late June, so they're going to be getting updated, adjusted. Make sure you're following along on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the social medias, of course, podcasts on every single podcast platform out there. If it's Google, if it's iTunes, we got it all. And we appreciate you listening and following along. And that's our wrap for the wide receiver rankings. We'll be back with more on Uncensored Football. For myself, for EJ, for Zach, we got.